Argyle, my hometown, going back for a visit. Great memories, some good, some bad, but memories anyway.
Can you go back home? Yeah, I don't think so. But we're going to go visit this afternoon. The ranch where I was raised on. I know what it looks like now, but I'll show y'all. I'll put some pictures up of what it looked like before and some of the cattle and horses we raised out there. Some videos of my dad's old place, which was on the back side of our place. The house is gone. I've got some pictures of it. And I know it's not the same. There's houses all over the ranch where I was raised. Anyway, come along for the ride. It'll be fun. It's always fun reminiscing. We'll even go down to where I used to, let's see, what did they call that? I think they called it parking. Our special spot me and my sweet girlfriend used to go to. Well, she was sweet for a while and then she was sour after that. But anyway, I think I was there with a couple of different girls. If I can get in the traffic jams in my little hometown, which there never was. Man, there was 170 something people lived in Argyle when I was growing up. And there's 3,000 or 4,000, I don't know, it's a lot. So, hang on for the ride and I'll bring you back in a little bit. I'll be showing you some still pictures, some videos, and give you a better understanding of where I've come from. Catch y'all in a little bit. My dad's home place. It's changed a lot. Their old house used to sit right here. Even when I was a kid, we would come over here. It was still standing. My dad's home place. It's changed a lot. Their old house used to sit right here. Even when I was a kid, we would come over here. It was still standing. Coming back home, it ain't never the same. This was the back of our property in the corner. Right here where these rock gates are. The property line ran from here all the way to 407. That's about 3/4 of a mile or a mile through there. I'm not sure exactly. All this was woods. We used to quill hunt up in here. We cut a lot of wood off of this property, trying to make it more accessible for our cattle. Just solid woods through here, and it opened up into a meadow down in here. The meadow's still there, but it's got houses built all over it. Sad to see. I hauled lots of hay out of there. We had milo, oats, and a big old garden on the other end towards 407. I see they've got a couple of ponds people have tried to put in. Didn't work. Wrong location. Looks like it's dry. Back to the woods on our property. They've really cleared it out. $1 million homes up in here now. This ranch went from about that corner. We're headed east now. We're about halfway there. It's about a mile through here, maybe a little over a mile. This is the ranch where my dad was raised on. And this creek right here that I'm coming up on, not much of one. It used to run water all the time. Of course, not anymore. Things have changed. I found a moonshine jug down on the creek years ago when I was a kid. I was down there squirrel hunting. I just thought it was a dump site until I got old enough to realize all the tin and stuff laying around, and there was a rock dam across the little stream that kept, you know, enough that it kept a few minnows and catfish and stuff in it. So, anyway, this is where my dad's home place was, right here. Nothing here anymore, of course. Just houses all through this ranch. We're going to take a right here. Leaving Harpole Road to Gibbons. There was a pretty cool little pond. It's just almost dried up to nothing right there. We used to catch lots of bass in here. Across the road from us was Llewellyn's place, and he was a pilot, I think, for American. He was flying those routes to Vietnam. He wasn't home a lot, so we would slip across the street into his pond and bad boys catch bluegill and bass. I think the largest bass ever caught out of there was about 4 pounds. I took a picture of it. It looks like it's still there and maybe holding water from the willow trees. Anyway, this is our pasture where all the homes are. We're almost to 407. There was always quail right here. Oh my God, no matter what time of year you could come up here, there was always quail. So we're at Gibbons and 407. We're gonna take a right. My aunt and uncle owned all the property to the left, the Fullers. Their son Billy still has this property. I don't know how many acres is left. It's been sold off into houses. Back to my parents' ranch. You can see the big old house that's built out here. The little creek where I found the moonshine jug and I used to squirrel hunt is right there. There's no water in it at all. It hadn't had water running in it in years. The last time I was over here was in the 70s hunting, and there was no water in it at that point. So as we come up to my parents' little house, you'll see the barn down in the pasture here. That's been rebuilt, and there's a pond right behind it. Looks like the same pond we had. And here's the little house I was raised in. I'll put a black and white picture of it up. Our garden was there by the house, and then we had a garden here, right here, and this is on the back side of that valley back in there, that meadow I was showing you. All right, back with you. Can you go back home? The second part. I ran out of time the other day. This is actually another day, and I have my assistant with me. I found her this morning.
Hi there.
This is my wife, Cindy. I don't know if I've got focused in on her or not. Maybe she can see it. So
I can
anyway,
see it.
she's going to actually help me film today. I'm afraid my tripod the other day was so shaky it didn't turn out well. So anyway, back to Argyle, my hometown. Can you go back? No, but you can go back for a visit and memories. All right, we're coming into the small town of Bartonville. It's really changed a lot. Used to be a house on the left here. It was owned by the Neelys, and they were part owner of the Bartonville store along with the Prices, and this was the road that went into. All of this has been encompassed into the town of Lantana, which is spread out everywhere it's spread out on the ranch where I used to work as a foreman, run cattle out here. So we're gonna drive through here and let you see. I'm gonna hand to my assistant here. All right, just get a shot of the store when you come down here. The Bartonville store has changed a lot. It used to have one gas pump. It's the Bartonville store still, but I think I don't know what all they have here. I think they party on Friday and Saturday nights and have a meat counter, and I don't know who owns it anymore. It was a great place growing up. I used to ride my scooter over here and get gas, bring our tractors over here. Bartonville Town Hall, so I guess there still is a town of Bartonville. I wasn't sure if it was even a town or not. All right, off to the next spot. We are on the back side of my aunt and uncle's place, the Fullers, Bill and Mildred. They have one son, Billy. I think he still lives out here. And when I was a kid growing up, of course there was no houses back here. This open field here was a tomato patch. Their truck patch that they would go to Dallas and sell tomatoes out of. All these woods behind it were not even there. I mean, it was just a few scattered trees. There was a big pond down in there. We used to fish out a lot. It's about a mile across the pasture to my home place. And then over here on the left was another Fuller property, and that was Otis Fuller. That was a dairy. There's nothing but houses now. And they milked about 200 head, and I would help them every morning. So things have really changed a lot. And drive through here and see many more houses are through here. And of course, this all, when I was a kid, this was all dirt road. And now you got Porsches coming up and down it. I believe that was one of the Fillers' homes right there. I can't remember which one lived there. They had a couple of sons and a daughter. But this was all their dairy farm for miles through here. And this here to the right, all of these trees was my aunt and uncle's property. And the last time I was over here, you could just walk through there. I don't think a rabbit would run through there now. It's packed in, packed in.
Yeah, it went smaller.
Okay, good. All right. What you're seeing across the street over there is the Hawk family. They used to have an egg farm over there and raised hay. Went to school with the boys. And this is the first big subdivision that came into Argyle. I remember all the houses being built in here. Everybody threw a fit. It's called Johnson Acres. A lot of my friends were raised here and lived here. I see the Hawk still has a house over here. They don't live here anymore. Let's see here. But there was an egg farm, and that was their home right there. James and Danny Hawk. They're still around. I just don't know where. Anyway, all of this houses to the right here was called Johnson Acres. I don't know if that was the man's name that put the houses in. Maybe somebody watching this is from Argyle. They'll know more than I do. This house on the very end right here. Oh, you can't even see it now. Big fence around it. That's where a friend of mine, Kathy and Beverly Riley, lived.
Okay, it's smaller.
Yeah, for years, 407 and 377 here, there was no light. When I was on volunteer fire department, we came to lots of wrecks that were here. People not paying attention, and they'd stop signs like we're stopped right now, but they would cross and get hit going across this thing. And right here where all these big trees are, that was our city park. It's actually a state-owned park in the trees there. It was a state-run park, had 4 or 5 picnic tables. We used to come and party on Friday and Saturday nights here. Small band and we played out there. This is Earl's we're coming up on. All of this one time was Mrs. Coates. There was a hog slaughterhouse in here. It's changed a lot. No Mrs. Coates, which was a great place for burgers when I was a kid. The burgers would be so greasy by the time you got them home, if you were taking them to go, it'd be bleeding through the sack, the grease. They were sure good, and it's the first place I ever had a curly Q fries. So good. They'd long gone. Back into the town of Argyle. What you're looking at is the frozen yogurt Argyle station. That used to be my gas station when I was 19. I graduated one night and opened that the next morning. And a funny thing, my dad had worked there in the late 40s when he was living, or in the mid 40s when he lived here in Argyle. The same guy owned it, Bill Meadows. And it was finally sold through the Meadows family a few years back. I'll try to find a picture and put it up as a station, what it used to look like. It did not have the rock on the walls. Here's a little better close-up of my old service station. It had 2 pumps out in front, not that antique looking thing. I'm not that old. But it was an Arco. It was a Sinclair and then an Arco station. Out to the side out here, there was a lift. There was a bathroom, but you had to go on the outside to go to it. There was one single car bay there. And, it was a cool deal as a 19-year-old kid running a gas station. I had saved my money, and that's what I like to do. It was full service, which I don't guess they have anymore. The building over here, which is the green looking building, I don't know if you can see that or not. It is the police station now, but at one time it was Mr. McCutcheon's fruit stand. He lived in Dallas, and he would come out every morning out of Dallas and bring oranges and apples, and it's the first place I ever had sweetbread, which is a Mexican pastry. I remember that. I thought it was like, he said, "Would you like a sweetbread?" And I said, "Yeah." I'd help him unload some vegetables. And I tasted it. I thought it was like a cinnamon roll. It was sweet, but not near as sweet as what I thought a cinnamon roll was. But it was good, and that started my love for Mexican sweetbreads. All right, let's go on down here. On the other side of this building, it was all connected. I don't know who built the original building here. Anyway, it's all one building now. It's the police station. The other side was there was a little place in between. It was a barber shop run by Mr. Cochran. And the other side of it was a washateria, Deanie's Washateria, which was right here. And then this blue building coming up was the Meadows grocery store. I'll try to get some pictures of, put it up what it used to look like. It's changed a whole lot. And then our bank building. Lots of stories about this old bank building, how Bonnie and Clyde robbed it. They never robbed it. It went out of business because of financial problems, but not from Bonnie and Clyde. And we even had a lady that lived here a few years in a tent. turn around here. Cool old building. It was owned by a man named Moon Mullins. He was a barber. He had the only water company in Argyle for years, until the city of Argyle put in a well, which is another discussion. Anyway, it's a cool old bank building. Still stands as it was when I was a kid. And of course now they've got other businesses in it. But we're going to head over to John's Well. It's about a mile or so from here. It was used by the travelers that were coming through in the 1800s. They would get their fresh water out of this well. And even when I was a kid and we would go hunting on this side of the Argyle, out in the prairie as we called it, we would stop in and have a cold drink of water. We used to hunt out there and at the Taylor place, and that's where my uncle is from. Get over this rough hump here on the road. I would take you to the school where I was raised, but that building's no longer there. I went to school in a 4-room building. There was 8 classes in 4 rooms. It was small. First and second grade, 1 teacher. Third and fourth, 1 teacher. Fifth and sixth, 1 teacher. Seventh and eighth, 1 teacher. A little office for a principal, and then they built a new school. I think I was in the 7th grade when the new school got completed. By the 8th grade, we actually had a kind of like a high school. We were different rooms for different teachers. So anyway, back in a little bit. Here we are out at John's Well. It's the corner of Taylor Road. That's where my uncle was raised, where we used to do a lot of quail hunting and squirrel hunting. There was a thicket back in there, and I can't tell you the name of the thicket. It's politically not correct now, and I don't know how it got its name. My uncle Dick, he's long gone, but he never told me how that got that name. Anyway, we're here at John's Well. This well's been here since the 1800s. It's a rock well. I think it used to be about 50 foot down to the water line. And when we would be out here hunting, there was a bucket, just like you'd see in the movies, with a big roller on it, and you could roll or pull it up on the line and get your fresh water out of it. Ice cold, super wonderful, sweet water. Never worried about doing anything to it. Now down inside there's a net that keeps people from throwing stuff. I don't know what they would throw in it, but I'm going to try to get up here and get a better picture of it. There is a historical marker here and a little bench that talks about it. At one time, the families in this part of the country would get their water out of here. They had camp meetings up here in the woods where the pioneers would camp on the way, and all of them got their water out of John's Well here. It's a cool, pretty cool place. The city of Argyle dug a well about a quarter mile from here up the hill, and within 2 years, John's Well was no longer. There was no water in it. It was 4 or 5 inches of water, not enough to even fill a bucket, and it was kind of cruddy looking water. So we never drank out of it after that. There was a lot of people screamed and hollered and said the city of Argyle dug into the aquifer that took all the water out of this. They said they didn't, but who's going to fight the city? Anyway, it's cool. It's cool they've got a historical marker on it, and we got a couple more places we will show y'all. We're going to head to Pilot Knob Ranch, which is a ranch that my dad played on as a kid. I played on, went all over that place, hunted and fished out there. It's got a big knob hill on it that's got 2 caves. And the caves are where Sam Bass, the robber out of Texas, and I believe he was out of all the Arkansas and Kansas. He was robbing banks and stuff. And anyway, they said he was, you could see Denton when the posses would come after him out here. So we were going to head over there. I can't go on the ranch anymore. It's been sold. And I've been up there many times. We used to do sunrise services up there for Easter. It was beautiful. And yes, you could see all the way to Denton from it. Doesn't look that tall now, but where it's located, you can see all over Denton. So anyway, back with you in just a few minutes.
Okay, went small.
Okay. All right, we're coming up on Pilot Knob. A very cool place. It was owned by the McCutcheons for years. I don't know who owns it now. I believe, I was told one of the richest families in Dallas, I don't know, had bought this and was going to turn it into a housing division, which is awful, but hey, it's their land. They can do what they want with it. It was a cool place as a kid. We used to come over here and ride horses. I would ride my horse from our place. It's about 7 miles over there, and we'd get over here, and all my friends would meet over here that had horses, and there was a couple of big lakes, and we would swim the horses across it. My dad hated that. I would get my butt in trouble every time. But I had to oil all the saddles, repair them. I don't know what he was griping about. Anyway, he thought it was too dangerous, but horses swim really good. And so yeah, that's what we did for fun. And one of the cattle chutes coming up here. It was the last place around here there was buffalo. They had a rough road. They had a crossbreeding program, and I've got a picture of the last bull. They would breed buffalo with, I think, Black Angus, and anyway, they were called beefalo. You know, supposed to be disease resistance and take any kind of weather, but it just never worked out. I'm not sure why. Other places still raise beefalo, but it didn't work out on this ranch. But I took a picture of the last bull up here. I guess in about 62 or 63, used my mother's little still camera, and it was a color camera, which was really unusual. Most people didn't have, you know, colored film. I think it was a 110 or something like that. But I've got a picture. I'll insert it when I was showing this video in between the videos. Right here is the Pilot Knob. It doesn't look that tall, but if you look off back to the right, you'll see the city of Denton back there. And that's why on top of it, on this one side, there was, it would be the north side, there was a cave. And they said that Sam Bass and his guys would get up in here, and once they seen the posse coming out of Denton, then they would head to the other side and run out back out towards Ponder or Justin or wherever, you know, wherever they went to. I see lots of dove out here. This used to be one of the big places we would dove hunt. And when I was growing up, the Irwins were the ranch foremans out here. And there was a girl named Joy Irwin, and her brother's name, Roy. He was my class. See, they still got some cattle out here feeding them out, which is cool. They're up here by those little dried up mud hole. I see that's called Hunter Ranch now. Like I said, that hill doesn't look that big. We used to drive up there and get it ready for sunrise service, and there was a place on top. You could drive a car and kind of do a switchback up there, but we would get it done. So. And this was just the prairie land out around here that was part of Pilot Knob at one time. The pond down there where the cattle are laying in the water. We used to duck hunt that a lot. So my life growing up in Argyle was hunting and fishing. Having fun, getting in trouble, trying not to get in too much trouble, but boys will be boys. And I got news for you, girls will be girls too. So there were some girls running around with us too at the same time. So, all right, one more spot before we go home. We're going to Denton to my hangout place where we used to hang out on Friday and Saturday nights.
Yeah, it's hot.
All right, last trip. Let's see here. This is Frosty's Burgers, root beer. It was a fun place growing up. I think they've got even a mural on the side. The cars on Friday and Saturday nights, we lined up out here. Yeah, look here. Mr. Frosty's old-fashioned burgers. And oh, at 54, I was going to say it was here in the 50s. My parents used to come here. Let's turn this around and get a better view. It would be crowded on Friday and Saturday night. This is all kind of new here. It's all been run by the same family all through the years, the Webbs. They still own this place. I don't know, they must have had some event or something going on last night. Grab this camera from my camera assistant here. Anyway, yeah, you pull up in front, and they had actually car hops when I was a kid. They'd come out and put the tray on the side of your vehicle, bring you root beers or whatever, and go inside. There was a small dining area in there. And I always remember, I told a couple of people this, that on Friday or Saturday nights, after the date, we'd come back here and pick up dinner or snacks or whatever. And if I ordered a hot dog or a corny dog for my date, that meant the date had not gone very well. Sorry. But if I ordered a shrimp basket, which was about $3 at that time, the date was going great. So they're not open today. And plus we've already been out to eat. But if I was buying today, I'd be buying a shrimp basket for my lovely assistant. Let's see if I can get her in focus here. She's done great today for her first time filming for me.
Thank you.
I do appreciate it.
It's been fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't say my better half, but we sharing the duties. She took care of me when I was down and out and couldn't walk in rehab and in the hospital. She's now on a broken foot. She's on a boot and a scooter, and I'm taking care of her. So we've made a good team through all of this. Anyway, there's lots more to my life, but maybe this will give you, when you look at my videos and A Country Boy Can Cook, you kind of understand more about me and where I've come from and what I've been. And I remember there's a skating rink up here in Denton. It was called Spinning Wheels. In the early 60s, we would go there, and my parents loved to skate. And there was a house band, these three guys that would play there. They were students at North Texas, or one of them was anyway. And I learned as I was going along, that little three-piece band from Texas turned out to be ZZ Top. And of course, there was none of their songs hits at that point in time. I don't know what they were playing. We were just kids. So I was, in 63, I was 10 years old. So anyway, hope y'all have a wonderful day. As always, like the video, share, tell your friends about it, send the copy to your friends, and subscribe so you won't miss the next one. Out of here.